A storm is coming to Port Charles, the explosive return of Morgan Corinthos. The silence is broken. For years, the city of Port Charles has been shrouded in a tense, unrelenting silence. A silence born from grief, from a loss that fractured a family and left a gaping wound in the heart of its most powerful dynasty. This was the silence that followed the presumed death of Morgan Corinthos, a silence that echoed in the hallowed halls of the Corinthos estate and in the whispered conversations of its residents. It was the kind of silence that precedes a storm, a quiet before the ruin, before the screams. But now, that silence has been shattered. The storm has arrived, and it has a name: Morgan Corinthos. General Hospital spoilers are teasing a seismic shift in the landscape of Port Charles, a resurrection so profound that it threatens to detonate the fragile peace the city has barely managed to maintain. After years of flickering hope and whispered rumors among devoted fans, the official confirmation is in. Bryan is returning to his iconic role as Morgan Corinthos. But this is not merely a nostalgic comeback for a beloved character. It's a firestorm of excitement, a dramatic inflection point that promises to alter the course of the Corinthos legacy forever. Morgan is back, and with his return, the ghosts of the past are about to collide with the chaos of the present, unleashing a torrent of secrets, betrayals, and a reckoning that will leave no one in Port Charles untouched. The resurrection of a beloved, troubled son. Morgan Corinthos has always been a character defined by complexity and turmoil. The youngest son of mob boss Sonny Corinthos and his fiery wife Carly, Morgan was a young man who lived in the shadow of his powerful family, grappling with immense pressure, his own demons, and a bipolar disorder that often led him down a destructive path. His life was a whirlwind of impulsivity, unresolved rage, and a desperate search for validation and love. In 2016, his tumultuous journey came to a tragic, abrupt end, or so everyone believed. A car bomb, intended for someone else, claimed his life, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Sonny was consumed by guilt and anger, a father who believed his world had been irrevocably shattered. Carly, his mother, was broken in ways that never fully healed, her grief a constant, haunting presence. The entire Corinthos family was splintered, each member carrying the weight of Morgan's absence, his name a painful reminder of what they had lost. Yet, in the midst of this profound pain, a question lingered in the hearts of both the characters and the audience. What if Morgan survived? For years, this question remained a whisper, a fleeting hope against the harsh reality of his presumed death. Now, as Port Charles teeters on the brink of another war, that "what if" has exploded into a stunning, seismic reality. Bryan Craig's return to General Hospital is not a fleeting hallucination or a symbolic vision. This is Morgan Corinthos, alive and in the flesh, a man deeply changed by the years he was thought to be dead. He returns to a world that has moved on without him, yet a world that desperately needs him once more. A world in chaos, the precarious state of Port Charles. Morgan's return could not have come at a more volatile time for Port Charles. The city is a powder keg of secrets and betrayals, and at its center stands Sonny Corinthos, more vulnerable than ever before. He is a man at war, not just with his enemies, but with the ghosts of his past and the crumbling foundations of his empire. Sonny is currently embroiled in a brutal conflict with a new and cunning adversary, Sidwell. This is a war that has already cost him dearly, most notably with the devastating death of Natalia, a loss that has left him reeling. But the threats are not just external. Sonny is besieged from all sides by betrayal. His trust has been shattered, his allies compromised, and his legacy, the empire he has painstakingly built over decades, is in grave danger. Forces are at play that seek to destroy everything he holds dear, to dismantle his power and leave him with nothing but the ashes of his life. Into this maelstrom of conflict and despair, Morgan Corinthos returns. He is not just a ghost from the past, he is a spark in the darkness, a force that could either redeem his father or be the final blow that finishes him for good. The timing of his return is no accident. It is a calculated move in a deadly game, and Morgan is now a key player. The ripple effect. The Corinthos family confronts its ghosts. The return of a son long thought dead is a miracle, but for the Corinthos family, it is also a cataclysm. Morgan's presence will send shockwaves through their lives, forcing them to confront their pasts, their presents, and their uncertain futures. The ripple effects of his return will be vast and deeply personal for each member of the family. For Sonny, Morgan's return is both a salvation and a punishment. On one hand, it's the answer to his deepest prayer, the return of a son he mourned with every fiber of his being. But it's also a living reminder of all he's lost, of his failures as a father, and of the dangerous world he brought his children into. Morgan's return forces Sonny to look at himself, at the man he has become in his son's absence, and to question whether he can ever truly protect his family. Morgan's presence could be the strength Sonny needs to fight back against his enemies, or it could be the final, unbearable weight that crushes him. For Carly, the return of her beloved son is a resurrection of hope, a light in the darkness that has consumed her for so long. But it is also a moment of reckoning. Carly has made choices in Morgan's absence, choices born from grief and a desperate need to protect her remaining family. Now, she must face the consequences of those decisions, and the return of her son will undoubtedly force her to re-examine her own life and the path she has taken. Will Morgan's return bring healing, or will it reopen old wounds and create new ones? For Michael and Jocelyn, for Morgan's siblings, his return complicates an already fractured family dynamic. Michael is grappling with his own betrayals and a complex relationship with his father. Morgan's presence will surely disrupt the delicate balance of power within the family and force Michael to confront his own role in the Corinthos legacy. For Jocelyn, her brother's return will be a bittersweet reunion. It reopens the deep wound of her grief, a wound she has carried since his death. But it also brings a chance for healing, for a new beginning with the brother she thought she had lost forever. The unraveling conspiracy, more than just a return from the dead. Morgan's return is not just about a miraculous survival. It's about a dark, intricate conspiracy that has been festering in the shadows of Port Charles for years. The question of how Morgan survived is just the tip of the iceberg. Was he taken? Did he fake his own death to escape the crushing weight of the Corinthos name? Or was he manipulated by a far more sinister hand? The video spoilers suggest a terrifying truth. Morgan's death was a lie, a carefully orchestrated illusion designed to break Sonny Corinthos. And at the heart of this deception is Sidwell, a man whose obsession with destroying Sonny has reached a fever pitch. This was not just a vendetta, it was a psychological war, executed with surgical cruelty and emotional malice. Morgan's return brings with it the truth, a truth that will unravel the web of lies that has entangled Port Charles. He has evidence that exposes the depths of Sidwell's manipulation. This includes a conspiracy extending far beyond a faked death. It involves the manufactured murder of Natalia, a crime pinned on Sonny through a sophisticated campaign of disinformation and betrayal. The video hints at fake autopsies, tampered evidence, and the involvement of other key players like Paul and Peter, who were Sidwell's embedded agents. The evidence Morgan has is explosive. It includes recordings of Sidwell ordering Natalia's murder, text logs between his agents, and even surveillance footage. This is the key to unlocking the truth, to exposing Sidwell and his network of corruption. But the truth is a dangerous weapon, and Morgan's decision to wield it will have far-reaching consequences. The Reckoning, a counteroffensive, is launched. With Morgan back in the fold, a new alliance is forged. A team of unlikely heroes, brought together by a common enemy and a shared desire for justice. Morgan, Jason, Carly, and Brick, the tech-savvy genius, join forces to orchestrate a counterattack unlike anything Port Charles has ever seen. Their weapon of choice is not violence, but the truth, weaponized with precision to dismantle Sidwell's empire from the inside out. Their plan is a masterpiece of strategy and deception. They leak evidence to the press, sending shockwaves through the city. They file anonymous complaints with federal authorities, putting Sidwell and his network under a microscope. They use Brick's technological prowess to hack into Sidwell's offshore accounts, freezing his assets and crippling his operations. And Morgan, the man who was once a victim of this conspiracy, becomes its greatest threat. He confronts Sidwell directly, not in a back alley brawl, but in the court of public opinion, and in the one place where men like Sidwell feel untouchable: the truth. This counteroffensive is not just about revenge. It's about redemption. It's about taking back their lives, their family, and their city from the clutches of a man who would stop at nothing to see them destroyed. The battle between Morgan and Sidwell becomes a vortex, pulling in everyone around them: courtrooms, hospitals, families, and allies, all caught in the crossfire of a war for the soul of Port Charles. Morgan Reborn, a changed man with a new purpose. The Morgan Corinthos who returns to Port Charles is not the same boy who left it. The years of torment, isolation, and survival have forged him into a new man. He is older, hardened, and anchored by a relentless mission. This is a Morgan reborn through fire, a man whose impulsive anger has been replaced by a chillingly calm resolve. His transformation is one of the biggest shocks for Port Charles. Nobody expected Morgan to return, and they certainly didn't expect him to return as a force of war. This evolution is not just a surface-level change. It's a profound shift in his identity, his strategy, and his emotional strength. Every step he takes is measured, every word carefully chosen, and every tactic designed with surgical precision. This new Morgan is a man with his own agenda, his own demons, and possibly his own vengeance. He is no longer haunted by his bipolar disorder in the same way. Instead, he seems to have channeled his inner turmoil into a laser-focused determination to protect his family and bring his enemies to justice. The trauma that once defined him has transformed into his purpose. He has become the storm that Sidwell never expected, a man who can destabilize entire systems without firing a single shot. The future of Port Charles, a new chapter written in fire. The return of Morgan Corinthos marks the beginning of a new, electrifying chapter in the saga of General Hospital. The city of Port Charles has been shaken to its core, and nothing will ever be the same again. Secrets long buried have exploded into the light, old alliances have fractured, and new enemies have risen from the ashes. At the heart of it all is a man who is lost and now is found, but not necessarily the same. Whether Morgan returns to rebuild the Corinthos family or to tear it apart in his quest for justice remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: his presence will redefine the dynamics of Port Charles for years to come. The battle is far from over. The war between the Corinthos family and their enemies will undoubtedly escalate, with Morgan at its center. He is no longer just a son or a brother. He is a survivor, a fighter, a reckoning. He is the ghost who came back with fire in his blood and war in his mind. And his name is Morgan. Port Charles better be ready. Thanks for watching this videos. Please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.